Welcome to the Nerdist Podcast number 31. I, Chris Hardwick, am about to perform stand-up comedy jokes in many cities. So come out to a show. I promise it will not be disappointing. August 12th to 15th, I'll be at Caroline's in New York. August 18th through 21st, I'll be at Cap City in Austin, Texas. August 25th to 28th, I'll be at Helium in Philadelphia. Then in September, we're doing Bumbershoot. We're going to do a live Nerdist Podcast episode there. Also, I'll be at the Punchline in Sacramento and Laughing Skull in Atlanta. Go to Nerdist.com and look at the Look at Me sidebar for more info and ticket links. All right, so this ep was recorded live at Largo in Los Angeles on July 28th. The guests were David Koechner, Tom Kenny, and the wonderful Fred Willard. You know, it was really an honor to hang out with all of these comedy genii, so I hope you enjoy listening to it as much as I enjoyed making it.
Initiate welcome sequence.
Now entering Nerdist.com.
Hello! Hey! Hi! What's going on, Largo? How's everybody? Oh, good. Oh, find your seats. Make sure there's not someone else in. He's going to stab you. I was just a Comic-Con. We'll talk about that later. Well, welcome to the Nerdist Podcast Live, everybody! So excited you're here. Want to do a show? It's going to be amazing. I'm not going to do, I said that word again. People give me shit online because I say amazing all the time. But there is no better word than amazing. This show is going to be amazing. Fred Willard is here, everybody. So exciting. Also, Tom Kenny is here. Yes. And I feel like I come out and blab at the beginning of all these shows. And two things. I don't want people to feel like I'm going to come out and force my material on them every time. And then after like the third podcast, I was like, I'm fucking running out of material. Like, I can't come out and burn through this shit. I'm going to go do live shows. People are going to be like, they heard that on episode 27. And I'm kind of fucked. So I want to get some new blood out here into this business. So I'm going to bring up the first guy. I have known him for an incredibly long time. I'm going to say, and this isn't even going on a limb. I'm going to say he is one of the most amazing actors, certainly one of the most amazing character actors. Something funny happened already? What's going on? What? God damn it. I can't help it, you guys. Give me a better word, I'll just fucking whip out a thesaurus. I just need to find sublime, incredible, fantastical, delightful, a triumph. What? Titillating, that's a little sexy. Your next performer is quite titillating. It's George Takei. He's titillating. George Takei is titillating. This season of True Blood, titillating. I had to go 5 minutes without some dude with his fucking pecs out. Now, I know how women feel all the time about objectification. You watch True Blood, it's like, really? Another... Does Jason Stackhouse have to be showing off his fucking 8-pack again? Anyhows, your next performer is... did you say fuckalicious? I love it. Your next performer is fuckalicious. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. David Koechner!
Hey, how's it going? I've never been referred to as fuckalicious before. I think it was a guy that threw that out. So I'm interested. I'm kind of having a rough day. It's one of those days, But I have a saying that gets me through it, on the tough days, the really hard ones. And there have been a lot of them lately. I'll just say this. I say, fuck it, let's eat cheesecake. Am I the worst one? What's that Ice-T song? I'm a nightmare walking, colors. Look out, cheesecake, you don't have a chance. I wish there was a cheesecake cleanse or something, you know? Maybe there is. It's just called cheesecake. Fuck it, let's eat it. I guess I would call mine, fuck you, skinny bitch. What are you looking at? Anyway, I'm a little upset today because of Roy. I know it's confusing because my name's Roy and my boyfriend's name is Roy. And, you know, people will say, hey, how's Roy? And I'll say, do you mean me or my boyfriend, Roy? And they'll say it's rhetorical. But I just say, well, I'm fine, but, you know, I think Roy's a mess. I'm not sure because I haven't seen him in a while, but probably a mess. Gosh, you should have seen when he moved in. He saw my apartment, and right away he said, oh my God, can I move in? And I said, yes. And he's been there ever since, except when he hasn't slept there, which is most of the time. But I know he's there because I keep doing his laundry, and he keeps getting dirty. So I hope they turn that thing over in this state, you know, that Prop 8. Then we can get married, and then he has to come home. My girlfriends are like, are you sure he's your boyfriend? I said, it's a one-bedroom apartment. Although it does enjoy just falling asleep to the news and go, oh yeah, I just fell asleep on the couch. But they'll go, so what's the deal with Roy? We haven't met him. I said, yeah, well, he's hot. Don't worry about it. And they go, really? I said, you've seen the scratches on my back. They don't need to know it's from my cat. Screw it, right? But you know what? I like to have fun. I love my girls. I love my girlfriends. You know, we always have a good time because none of their straight boys want to go dancing, and I just love it. I love to dance. I'm crazy for the floor, and I just get out there, you know, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. You should have put a ring on it, right? Screw it. Here's the deal, though. They say maybe you should open it up, and I think maybe I should. Maybe, you know, Roy, I should challenge him a little bit and open things up, start dating or something. Maybe I'm bi. Or maybe I'm straight, you know, and hey, let's go get some puss. I mean, what do you do? Just be mean to them? Is that right? Is that how it... I don't want to do that. I like my girls, you know. But here's the thing. I've got a rule, and they know I'm not after their men. Yes, I am. Am I the worst? I'm so bad. But here's the thing. I've got one rule with you straight boys if you ever want to get with me. There's one rule. You can do anything you want to me. Am I the worst one you've ever heard of? If you've got cheesecake, you can do it twice. I just like to get out. You know, I love the outdoors because I'm allergic to my cats, so I got to get out as much as I can. Just like to get out. A lot of times I just go to the park with the frizz, you know, the frisbee. And so, you know, you'll be walking there, even though it's a two-person game, at least, but if you walk to the park with a frizz, people are like, hey, man, that guy must want to start a party or something. And so sometimes you just throw it wherever and see what happens. Sometimes a dog will take off with it. So I'll just walk up to a guy that's sunbathing or something and say, your dog took my frizz. And they'll say, it wasn't my dog. But then we're stuck here in this conversation. He's laying there, you know, with his shirt off and his eyes closed and pretending I'm not there or something. And I get it. It's like, oh, he just wants to see me walk away. All those dirty boys. I don't mind. I'll give them a treat. The other day I went to the movies because I'm a movie nut. I love it, you know. And, you know, us movie buffs, we love to go in the afternoon, right, where it's just like ours. It's like a private screening room for whatever your pleasures. And so I went to Twilight the other day Because I like to go, when all the little girls are done watching it. So I went to, an afternoon show, and I brought a suitcase with me because I don't like their popcorn because there's not real butter on it. So I just bring my own, right? And so I'm going through the lobby, and this bitchy queen says, are you going somewhere? Because I had the suitcase, and I was like, yeah, I have a business trip in another city right after this. First class. Then he's all like, well, you can't use another seat. We'll have to charge you for it. I said, well, then I'll just sit on the aisle and sit right next to the aisle and put it there. He goes, that's a safety hazard. So I just went in. So anyway, I get in the middle of the theater. That's my domain, right? I sit right in the middle, and I open my suitcase, and I've got my popcorn, and I've got, I put Junior Mints in and Milk Duds, and I cut up a hot dog in there, and then I'll have a can of RC or something as well. But then here's the thing, there's this pet peeve thing that happened. There's a guy who's behind me, like 2 rows behind me, sits near me. I'm like, but here's his deal. He starts smacking his gum. And I'm like, So I give him one of these. And for you podcast listeners, that was a half head turn. Because to me, a half head turn back towards someone, not a full one, means, I hear you. And he kept smacking and popping, so I did it again. That was another half head turn. And to me, that means, please stop it now. I know it's you, and you know that I know, so that's enough. Anyway, the movie's going on, and I'm trying to ignore it. I'm watching. Remember halfway through the movie, and you don't know, it's that one part you're like, oh no, is she gonna go with the wolf boy? Or is that other clan gonna get her? Is she gonna wind up in Arizona? Or is she gonna go to Seattle? What's gonna happen, right? And I got really nervous, and I was about to cry, because I wanted it to go well for her. And then I said to myself, out loud, I guess, I said, buck up, soldier, though I've never been in the army. And then the guy behind me said, shut up, faggot. So I did. Then I sat there and I was thinking, and I said this under my breath, but I guess he heard it, and I said, you wouldn't say that if my boyfriend was here. And then he goes, you don't have a boyfriend. So then I stood up. I don't know what came over me. I stood up. I said, that's it. All right, you can insult me, but you cannot insult my boyfriend. And I was just like, oh no. And then this came out. He's the one that's been smacking his gum. Although there wasn't anyone near us, they probably didn't hear it. There were only 2 other people way down front. But anyway, then he got really pissed. And he starts leaving his aisle, and he's gonna come down mine. I'm like, oh my God. And I was just frozen with fear, right? I was like, what's gonna happen? I wanted to run, but I couldn't run. I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna meet an EMT with a fat lip. Just my luck, right? And then I wanted to leave, but the other thing is I'd kicked off my clogs about halfway through the movie. And I knew there's no way I was gonna find them in the dark. And I just bought them, so I just didn't want to leave them. I was like, shit. So then there he is, he's walking, like this. He goes, what'd you say to me, and all this stuff. And then he comes walking faster and faster, and boom, he trips on the suitcase. And he busts his chin wide open. I said, score one for the rainbow. And then I grabbed my clogs and I ran out of there as fast as you can run in clogs. So don't tell me how it ends. I had to go back. It was Roy's suitcase. I just left it. So I don't know. I'm out here looking for a hobby. Maybe muscle cars. Those are big. Or computers. People still do that, right? So I don't know. Maybe I'll join the Marines. Or the Navy. Am I the worst one ever? That's Roy, and for you listeners, I was wearing a fat suit. My kids love it because they think they're going to get to try it on, but they can't. It's Daddy's props. They're like, why do you get to dress up on costumes and I can't wear your costume? Well, first of all, the wig costs $700. So my boy the other day, I was trying the thing on the other day, and the wig, I put it down, and I went to lunch. I put it on this styrofoam head in my closet, and it's gone. But there was a chair that had been pulled up into the closet, and I have a 4-year-old son, one of the culprits, one of the suspects. We have 4 kids, but he was the one that wanted to try the wig on the most. And so I come back, and it's gone. We're looking around, can't find it. So I sat down with Sergeant. I said, Sergeant, do you have Daddy's wig? He said, no. Okay. Because, I have to. There are other wigs you can play with, but you can't play with Daddy's, that one. Not that one. Daddy needs that one. Will I get in trouble? No, you won't get in trouble. Do you know where it is? Okay. So he goes out. There's a playhouse in the back end of our backyard, and under that's a dusty old bench, and sure enough, there was Roy's wig. So I got that back from Sergeant. My buddy thinks that I might be putting my weird on my kids, because I do characters around the house, and clearly put on fat suits and wigs. And, well, you gotta try it out, right? They're a captive audience. I used to work at an off-track betting parlor in Chicago, and there's a guy named Eddie who was a short order cook there. And some people just think they're funny, and they want to tell jokes, and they shouldn't, and they know they shouldn't, but they can't help it, so they do it anyway. But halfway through their punchline, that's not really a punchline, it's not even a setup or a joke, they bail out and just go, no. That was Eddie. Eddie would say something like, hey, nice shoes. Old lady in the shoe, no. Hey, you want to work for me? No. Men at work, that band. Hey, land down under underwear, no. So, it'll be like an avalanche. You just never stop all day long. Eddie's just pumping them out. And they never get better. Hey, Eddie, got an order for a cheeseburger. Cheeseburger. Hey, cheeseburger. Hey, that sketch from SNL 30 years ago, no. Hey, say cheese, Ansel Adams. Ansel Adams says, how did you get a cactus to smile? Say cheese, no. Hey, Cheese Whiz, what are you, a wizard? Harry Potter, no. Harry Potter, Potter's Field, It's a Wonderful Life. Hey, failed savings and loan, bank bailouts, Dow Jones, Star Jones is fat, no. Hey, Weight Watchers, Christy Alley's had a hard time keeping it off, no. Cheese Base, Hogwarts Academy, no. Hey, Academy, Police Academy, that sound effects guy, how does he do it? No. How's he do it? Howdy doody. Ron Howard, no. Happy Days, Fonzie, A-Team, no. A-Team, I pity the fool. Dan Quayle doesn't know how to spell potato. Sometimes I put an E on it too, no. Hey, Fonzie, sit on it, Potsy, no. Some kids are too young to remember that one. Too young. Carl Young, get your dick out of my dreams. No. Field of Dreams. Kevin Costner put his dick in the collective unconscious, no. Freud's a cokehead. Freud were prohibited, no. Prohibited, prohibition, inhibitions, innuendo. Kevin Costner in the window, Mr. Brooks, no. Psychological thriller. Thriller, Michael Jackson, no. Jackson Pollock, Stream of Consciousness. Conscientious Objection, Vietnam War, The World, Waterworld, Kevin Costner, no. Untouchables, can't touch this. Don't touch me there, Michael Jackson. Don't speak ill of the dead, dead man walking. You talking to me? You talking to me? Robert De Niro analyzed this. You shouldn't have made analyze that, no. That's no raging bullshit, I just shit my pants, no. Yes, I did for real, no. Hey, Raging Bull, you fucked my wife? You fucked my wife? No, maybe. Does she look like my mom? Edible complex. Freud, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, no. Unless it's a cock in my dreams, Carl Jung. Carl Jung and the Restless, no. Eddie and the Cruisers, On the Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd's a better band. Band of Brothers, Karamazov Brothers, no. Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment, OJ, no. Hey, OJ, White Bronco, Billy Graham, and the Beaver Brown Band, no. Eddie and the Cruisers in the parking lot cruising for a BJ, no. BJ and the Bear. 70s reference. Had a monkey as a sidekick. Hey, we're the Monkeys. Jonas Brothers Monkeys and the Beaver Brown Band, no. Purity ring around their cock. I heard they got Hogwarts, no. Hogwarts, hogs, ham, bacon, Kevin Bacon, and an egg salad. Toss my salad. What am I in prison? No, Shawshank Redemption, no. All right, I'm David Koechner. Thanks for having me. Good night.
David Koechner, everybody! Away. And OCD, good. All right. That's still not right, but I'm going to try to let it go. All right, hang on. Can't help it. All right, guys, I would like to, another hand for David Koechner, by the way. Fantastic. We're gonna put a picture up or something, because then I feel like, when I introduce David Koechner and then he comes out as Roy, and you're gonna be like, does David Koechner get weird all of a sudden? This podcast isn't just me. There are two other gentlemen who really make this happen, and I would like to introduce onto the stage right now, Mr. Matt Myra and Mr. Jonah Ray. There you guys, sit down right there. In the middle, no, sit over there, yeah. This is the guest chair.
Yeah, I know, but I want to get close to you.
Oh, so I didn't even see you at Comic-Con. You were at Comic-Con? We were both at Comic-Con?
He was down there for a hot minute.
8 hours? 7 or 8 hours?
I was there since Wednesday. I spent way too much time there.
I was there half the time of the commute.
Yeah, you really were. It took forever to get down there.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I was talking to Brian Posehn about how we were surprised there aren't more fights in San Diego, because downtown San Diego is a predominantly jock culture.
It's like, well, there's like a bunch of like college jock, beachgoer type bros, and then there's like every serviceman ever.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of.
That's where they keep them all.
They all go there because you can rape and fight and not get in trouble.
Yeah.
Because everyone else, it's just like,
it might be a slight misrepresentation.
No, that's how it happens down there.
All right. Well,
it's like, the girl's gonna get, raped, and then the guy, she's like, oh, explain the guy. He was a beefy dude with a crew cut.
I can't really do anything about
He had
that.
collars popped up on a polo shirt.
No, I didn't rape that girl. It was a prank. Like a fuck prank. Whatever. I'm a frat guy. What do you want to do?
You got fuck pranked.
Yeah.
Surprise! Here's my penis.
San Diego.
Yeah, I'm surprised, but it's like they all come out at night. All the jocks.
The jocks come out at night. The jocks come out at night.
They come out at night, but by that time, all the nerds that feel empowered during the day are all exhausted from walking more than they ever have in their lives.
Right. And also being in the sun more than ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the other part. Well, there was a, did you guys hear there was a fight at Comic-Con?
You guys hear about this? You hear about this?
There was a stabbing. You guys, this is in the news. No, but it really was. Yeah. So there was in Hall H, and that was my panel that it happened at. I mean, it wasn't my panel. I was moderating a panel for.
I missed the Chris Hardwick panel.
No, there was no Chris Hardwick panel. Yeah. Chris Hardwick did not draw 6,000 people to Hall H just to talk. I know.
Oh.
Well, you don't have to awe that. Very few people can draw 6,000 people.
I bet I could.
Oh shit. All right, Hall H next year, Jonah Ray's The Freeloader's Guide, Jonah Ray. So I was moderating a panel for this movie called Paul, and it's amazing. So. Yeah, the movie was written by Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and Greg Mottola directed it. And Greg Mottola, directed a bunch of Arrested Development and Superbad, and this panel was my, and this isn't name dropping because I didn't really know any of these people, but so like down the panel was me, and then Greg Mottola, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Jason Bateman, Sigourney Weaver,
Jeffrey
Tambor, Seth Rogen, and Joe Latrulio, and. It was an I love that Latrulio got the biggest cast.
The guy from the state got like Sigourney Weaver, fat. Seth Rogen,
So I managed to get all these people together. There was the President of the United States was there. Christ was resurrected. Johann Gutenberg.
I'd rather not.
And Mario Lopez. Now that I'm equating Latrulio with Mario
You can
Lopez.
access my Hollywood.
Well played.
What's your Hollywood?
It's my anus.
Are you the worst one?
The worst one ever.
All right, so this is great. This is Steel Koechner's bit. So we're in Hall H. We're about to go on stage to do this panel, and someone comes back and they're like, "We're gonna go back up to the green room. There was a stabbing." And we're like, "What?" And so there was a stabbing, but in true nerd fashion, what happened was they were fighting. Two nerds were fighting over a seat. One guy kicked another guy, and so the other guy just took out a mechanical pencil and sank it into his face.
Oh, wow.
Mechanical pencil. Way to go, nerds. They're selling fucking alien battle axes on the floor, and you have to attack someone with a weapon that has to be clicked to activate.
Yeah. Was he doing a magic trick? Was he dressed up like the Joker?
He was dressed like the Joker.
Yeah.
I can make this disappear. Sink.
You know that you have to check your weapons there. There's a place to go to if you have like a Klingon battle axe of some sort.
It's called a bat lift.
What? No.
I'm sure it is.
He's not.
Well, it is.
He's not. I don't know
Did they
who should
say,
feel
"Let me
more
ask you a
ashamed in this
question"?
scenario. But there was a stabbing and there was blood, and they had to they had to stop the panel and.
But who called dibs on the seat? Who won?
Probably not the guy bleeding out of his eye.
No, I bet he's like, no, I'm cool.
I really want to see the Paul panel. So they, but
He got led away in his Harry Potter T-shirt. I saw that picture.
What?
Of the guy handcuffed with his Harry Potter
Oh,
T-shirt.
yeah, the Harry Potter T-shirt on.
Pretty awesome.
Oh, Petrificus Totalis! That's what he should have used a stunning spell, and then the other guy wouldn't have been able to
Obviously.
stab him.
Yeah.
Next time. So they usher us upstairs, and I mean, the concentration of crazy, insane, famous people in this one green room was ridiculous. So we all go back up there with this load of famous people, and then there's another load. It's like Harrison Ford and Daniel Craig and Olivia Wilde and Joss Whedon and Jon Favreau, and they're talking to Sigourney and Jeffrey Tambor and
Was Joe Latrulio?
Joe Latrulio. Hey! No, but Joe and I are standing off to the side and just watching this and going like, do we shit our pants now, or should we leave the room to do that? Because it was so overwhelming. I've just never seen that.
If Comic-Con blows up, Mario Lopez is the most famous person.
Oh my God, that's when the terrorists will win. So
You could really take away like a lot of like future technology if you just blow up Comic-Con. You know?
what? I don't know how much
Wait,
technology.
I don't think technology's that
if you
bad.
just like it's like a bunch of nerds, like young people go to this thing and like they might go on to like cure something or develop something great for the world, but then if you blow up fucking
What are they-
Comic-Con.
Wait, what are they gonna?
I don't know why I'm thinking of ways to
Wait,
kill
wait,
all
wait.
this.
What is gonna get cut in the timeline if you blow up Comic-Con? Like a bunch of characters that people made up that no one's ever heard of?
No, it's like I'd imagine there
You
must
will
be.
cut steampunk out at the knees.
Oh please, I wish.
No, that's if you take out Burning Man or Maker Faire. That's when when the major steampunk movement gets fucking amputated.
Think about Comic-Con.
Oh my God! It was a brass wasteland. all the brass and acid burned metals. What are we gonna do? All those goggle glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
All those things they make that look like steampunk that don't work.
That's right. That's right. So, did you see any panels that you liked? Did you see anything?
No. I didn't. I was very underwhelmed by the thought of a panel because it's like, you go to a panel.
No,
you're
that
like,
means you were just whelmed.
I was whelmed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were whelmed.
I was, you go to a panel and you're just like, you wait. You can wait in line and then you sit in a room.
I know how panels work.
No. Yeah. Because you were waiting in line. You were waiting in line to go to your own Paul panel.
Well, I had to after the mechanical pencil stabbing.
True,
I had to wait in line to get back on.
No, but it's like, what are you going to see there that you're not going to see the next day on the internet? Kind of takes away a lot of the flair of it. I'm sorry, did I just ruin Comic-Con for everybody?
No, I thought Comic-Con was a lot of fun this year.
I had fun. I bought like a pointless thing. I bought I bought this like thing that looks like an oil painting that's about this big for our listening audience. This big, and it's
Not that
like
big?
Yeah.
Did it look
not
like
that
this
big.
thing that's in my hand right now?
That's hilarious. But it was like a prop. I was told it was from Cabin Boy.
What? I'm listening.
Now let's bring out the mime for the podcast. This guy's a great ventriloquist on radio.
I think you just said ventriloquist.
Did I?
Yeah. Which is how ventriloquists pleasure themselves. Hey, somebody take care of me. His lips aren't moving. Come on. That's a good joke. That's a good joke. That's a solid, filthy ventriloquist joke. It's a solid, filthy ventriloquist joke. You know what, though? You were fucking spot on with Walking Dead. Walking Dead looks so
fucking A.
amazing, you guys.
Yeah, the trailer seems to show that it's going to be the best zombie thing ever made.
I mean, I know we slobber all over AMC's knob, but I mean, like when you think about
I need more hats, Chris.
Jonah got an AMC hat because we talked about AMC, but they got Mad Men, Breaking Bad, and then freaking The Walking Dead. Like,
Yeah.
and what Comic-Con reminded me is that we are in a part of our cult, like nerd culture rules when our soap operas are
And
about.
jock culture drools.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we're at a time when our soap operas have vampires, zombies, they're fucking aliens in them. I mean, these are the shows that are our soap operas.
We did it!
We did it! Yeah. Fuck you, Dynasty and Knots Landing. We got True Blood and Battlestar Galactica. So that's really exciting. Matt, did you? I had Matt Myra come down to record a thing that I did with the Mythbusters, and then when he got down there, I realized I had forgotten the power cable on my recorder. So Matt basically just sat for 10 hours in traffic to come to a panel.
It was really exciting.
It was a good panel.
No, but I somehow went to Comic-Con and left with $5 more than I got there with. Oh. I realized I was not that much of a nerd because none of the merchandise was appealing to me. And the whole time I was just avoiding smelling everything.
Oh.
Because
we were walking around for a little bit.
It is so...
Yeah, it's
the
rank.
body odor is... You hear it described, and you're like, oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah,
it is that bad.
By Saturday afternoon, you're just swimming in like a thick air.
Because it's
walking
so
around.
hot, and they're all at least twice the size of me, which is... They're large.
They're big.
Yeah, but overall, I think it was a really good Comic-Con. And I think some people say, well, too commercial now. But I feel like, they had big superstars for people to see. But then at the same time, there's still the aisle that has all the action figures and the comic.
And in that aisle, I saw Malcolm McDowell just sitting there signing to no one.
Oh, really?
It was just Malcolm McDowell surrounded by some T-shirts.
I was walking through this really thin aisle, like really just like a tiny aisle. I don't know what block it was, but like there's this guy at this table going, "Who needs an autograph with the Black Power Ranger?" And then, wow. And then just nothing.
My favorite booth of a guy to get an autograph from was the voice of one of the Rice Krispies.
What?
I think it was either Snap, Crackle, or Pop.
Oh, Pop!
It was probably Pop.
Oh, God.
That is weird.
It was very weird.
One of the best things I saw was the first night, the Wednesday, the preview night, where there was like a whole huge thing full of 20-sided die, and there was just this kid that went up to it like it was the fountain of youth and just dug his hands into it and just let them all run through his fingers. Oh, this is what it's about. This is what I've heard about.
Hey, Sweatstein, you gotta buy all those. You put your gummy mints all over that.
Oh, don't you worry.
Oh, we'll see once I roll for initiative. Blah! And he just throws them all out.
Slang.
Well, I think we've talked enough nerd nonsense at the top of the show. I want to bring on our guest because he's here, and we should definitely be talking to him.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Mr. Fred Willard!
Boy, at this table, it looks like we could solve a lot of the world's problems just sitting here.
Yes.
I'm seeing around Roosevelt, Stalin, and Churchill. We'll decide the whole world.
Exactly.
Darling, yes.
Polio!
Mustache.
And we didn't MC. What are your thoughts, Mr. Roosevelt? Oh, well, funny story about World War II. What happened to Hitler? I don't know. He disappeared. They say he died.
There was a crack in time, and he erased from existence. The end. What's going on Dr. Who?
Well, this was all very interesting. Comic-Con. Yeah.
Did you go?
No, I
go?
did not. I wasn't even aware it was on. I read all about it, and I missed it. Jeez.
Then you heard about Joe Latrulio, and you're like, let's go fuck some shit up.
Yes. I had 8x10s I wanted signed. No, I don't know. Who is he? I really don't know who he is. I really don't know.
Well, I'm sure you're familiar with the popular MTV sketch comedy show, The State.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
great.
It was on for a season and a half.
Yeah, seriously. In
the early
93. Joe's in this movie. He's super funny guy, and a good friend of mine, and very sweet. But fuck that guy. He's dead to us. Let's move on. This is about you, Fred Willard.
No. Let's talk more about Joe. Move, please. I think.
I saw you. I actually got to meet you up at Montreal.
Montreal, that was fun. The comedy festival up there. That was really great.
That was
yeah,
great.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
You guys did a Second City panel?
Yeah, yes, we did. And we had they got an award. We had to give it to Andrew Alexander, who's the owner of Second City. So it was a good excuse to be up there. And you get there, and suddenly I wasn't that enthused about going. We went up, we flew up. And suddenly you see the lineup. Who's there? Oh, God, we got to see this. It's like a kid in a candy store. I got to see this. Hey, they go on at 7. This show goes on at 9:30. And so you're rushing around to see as many things as you saw. We saw Louis Black.
Uh-huh.
We saw a New Faces show, which is always interesting to see what people are doing.
Yeah.
Who else did we see?
Those people have much newer faces than
Newer
anyone
faces,
else.
yes.
At the
Not
festival.
a lot of times the old material, but new faces. just that occasional fuck, Montreal, how the fuck are you? And but I found something very interesting. The people who, and that would get a big response at first, but as late as a lot of the acts were not X-rated, but they got more laughs. So people just appreciate, comedy is comedy. It'll see its way through. But it's still fun.
We filth it up a lot on this podcast. I don't know.
Oh,
if
really?
That, I don't know
Not
if that's a
that much.
crush.
I've been listening. I have the 8-second buzzer over there. Mr. Willard, do you want to do the delete? Oh, yeah, I didn't see anything to delete. Oh, wait, Chris said the F word. It's too late. It went through. It went out.
So who else was I saw? Did I see Tim Kazurinsky on the
Tim
panel?
was there. Tim Kazurinsky. Joe Flaherty, remember?
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, I love Joe.
Count Floyd.
Count Floyd, yeah. Yep. Good Lord, I haven't seen him in years. And who else? Well, we saw Louis Black, Andy Kindler doing his State of the Industry. That's always funny.
Yep.
And then we had the tag that let you in every show until the last night we went up to a gala and found out that didn't let you into the gala.
Oh, didn't let you in the gala?
Yeah, so we went back home. It was late anyway.
Were you dressed up for the gala?
No, it's not that
Okay,
kind of gala.
all right,
It's just,
all
no.
Sorry, I thought your gala.
It's a
I'm
gala.
wearing my top hat.
It's a gala in name only. It's not actually a to-do.
Very little gay. There's no gayness there.
No.
With a cigarette, my ticket. We know what time does the show start? It wasn't like the Beaux-Arts ball or something.
Is that the Beluga? Yes. Is it? Have you been? You must have been to Montreal before.
I've been there several times to do different things. The most interesting time, I went there once, and we're doing something much like you're doing, only it was on a video, and I got to interview every comic as they came off stage, which was great. And I would try to see their act, and I talked to Dave Attell and Howie Mandel. I mean, I just was looking through pictures. I talked to everybody there. It was great fun, just for about 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Just in time that I didn't run out of questions. So what's your favorite color? Oh, that's not right. Oh. What's the funniest thing that ever happened to you? But it was just enough to stay interesting.
Howie, do you blow a glove up on your face still? Did you ask me that question?
The first time I ever saw him was at Toronto, whatever the comedy clubs there.
Yuck
It was
Yucks, probably.
Yuck Yucks.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was his whole act. He came out of the... But it was really the funniest thing I'd ever seen. And it's a funny thing for this internet. The producer came to me and says, Howie Mandel doesn't want to be interviewed. I said, oh, okay. He said, but you know him, don't you? I said, well, kind of. Could you talk to him? I said, oh, geez, you're putting a lot of pressure on me. So I said, okay. So I went over across the street into his dressing room, and he was very kind of sullen at first. I said, Howie, and we talked, and then finally he said, I saw you in Toronto. That's the funniest act I ever saw. And he just warmed up. And all of a sudden he says, I'll be on your show if you want.
Nice.
Yeah, so he came on, and we had a great time. We talked for about 15 minutes. It was really great.
Don't fucking touch him, though. He'll lose his mind. Like,
I don't know if he had that problem then.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know, because he came in and he was holding a dog turd in his hand. He says, look what I almost stepped
yeah,
in.
see, exactly.
I almost, get that?
So that's
Look what
probably-
I almost stepped in.
It was probably
It's
after
an old
that.
joke,
It was
yeah.
probably after that
Yeah.
happened, that he developed that. Hepatitis,
No,
damn it! I heard the weirdest cat call that I've ever, not to me, but in Montreal, there was a group of women walking by, and what would be stereotypically a carload of douchebags drove by, and one of them leaned out the window and said to this woman, "Do you have a husband?" Which I thought was like a really, yeah, it's douchey, but it's a very polite question
very
to
polite,
ask.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend a little while than that. They were driving down an alley, and there was a prostitute in the alley throwing up, just throwing up. And he rolled down the window, and he says, "How much?" Is this my water? Is this a water?
Yeah, that's water for you.
I don't want to drink it, but I just have a plant. I got to water it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's,
These things, you let them go in this heat, they'll die. Not bad.
so when I saw you in Montreal, it was funny because one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, you said to me, "Geez, everyone's asking me how comedy has changed after all, after all these years," and I was like, "Fuck, I was going to ask you that." So
No, let's talk about it. How has comedy? Well, there's Comic Con. You're more in the shows. I don't know how it is changed. I don't know. It's
I mean, so what was it? I mean, of course, like there's some basic elements are still the same, but like, what's the landscape like? When did you actually start doing improv sketch? When did you start?
Wow, I was in Second City years ago, and it scared me to death. They asked me to be in their comedy. I started out, I worked with another guy. We had a comedy, just comedy sketches.
Mm-hmm.
And then our act broke up, and I suddenly got invited to go to up and audition for them. At the time, you could just go and audition with Robert Klein. You know Robert Klein? And we did it, and they hired me for 6 months and kept me for another 6 months. But at the time, everything was much more PG. You couldn't say shit. You couldn't say anything on stage.
Right.
It was very structured. And now it's much looser.
Uh-huh.
And so I don't know. I was just mentioning this. I had to do some kind of benefit at the Improv. And I pointed out that comedy, where does it go? I was walking past a pair of transvestites on Melrose Boulevard, and one turned to the other and said, "Tell me truthfully, does this dress make my penis look small?" And I said, I'd never, there's been no exploration of that sort of humor, transvestite humor. And there was some work done in that category. Someone was working on a story about two women in an apartment building. Uh-huh. One said to the other, "I think my son is having an affair with another gentleman." And she said, "Oh, really?" And she says, "No, O'Reilly." But they were not Chris, this is a true story.
No, good, thank you. I'm sorry. We wanted the plan. Yeah, wanted the plan.
Wait, I'm full. Okay. Anyway, that's no more jokes. Let's get this whole situation solved. There must be some situation we can solve here. What's the latest thing? Those councilmen in Bell, is that where it is, Bell?
Yeah, I think so.
What happened to the oil crisis? That's kind of forgotten now.
Yeah, everyone got excited about it for a while. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
They capped it.
Yeah.
They kept it. Then Lindsay went to jail. She's probably out. Now these people in Bell, let's concentrate on. And now, where's comedy going? In which direction? The transvestite comedy. Great for the gay community, great for the transvestite community,
Right.
great for the comedy community. There
Right.
we go. That's it. Let's move on to the
Fred
next call.
Willard in 2012.
The next topic,
We just covered everything.
just about everything. There's no more problems.
We just solved everything. I mean.
You were right.
Yeah, this is great.
So I saw you and in Aspen. I saw you and Martin Mull like 10 years ago. Maybe do a Fernwood reunion.
Was it
about
10
about
years
10
ago?
years
That was
Yeah.
great fun,
Or
you know?
2001 maybe. It was like 9 years ago.
Yeah, 9 years ago. He's great. I just saw him a couple of weeks ago. Martin is an artist. He plays a guitar. That was a lot of fun. That was a long time ago. It's amazing to me how many people come up and say, "Hey, I remember you on Fernwood tonight." So, but they'll usually say, "I was just in junior high school, and my parents let me watch." I said, "Well, we were all young." My mom used to bring me to the set, and I had to have a tutor. You know,
You had to have a parent on the
Yeah.
set. So when you're doing that show, was it a show that did you come up with it together, or did you get cast on the show? What was?
They called me in, and they said, everyone said, you'll be just right. You're going to be this co-host. It's like a spoof of The Tonight Show. And I didn't want to do it because I'd done some pilots called Space Force or Space. I was going to be a sitcom star. And I said, I don't really want to do it. So they said, well, just stay around for about a week. We're going to just do some run-throughs until we find someone else. So in sitting there going through it, I said, this is very funny stuff. And Martin was very funny, and the writers were very good. And finally, at the end of the week, I said, I'd like to stay with this. And it was only supposed to be on 1 year, and it was called Fernwood Tonight. And so many of the celebrities who were Norman Lear's friends, Carol Burnett and Burt Lancaster and all these people who loved it and wanted to be on it. So they said, well, how do we explain that this show is coming from a little town in Ohio? So they changed it to a little town in California and renamed the show America Tonight. And all these celebrities came on and did it. So it was great fun. We did 2 seasons.
Well, the thing that I read about it was that it was Norman Lear. It was like a summer replacement for Mary Hartman.
For Mary Hartman, yeah.
Which I can never remember. Was Mary Hartman a sitcom? I remember watching it as a kid and feeling like it was. They just had that Norman.
You thought it was a reality show.
Well, Norman Lear, like sometimes he would drift into the serious. It was very gritty and very real.
Yeah, and we did it. We did. They got anyone they wanted. They had Tab Hunter. They had Shelley Berman. Anyone they wanted, they would get on.
Joe Trillo?
No, he was too young. He was a kid.
Damn it.
He claims he was too young, but I think he's lying about it. I looked at his birth certificate. Where's that plant?
It's over there.
My plant died. Yeah.
So
Too much water.
Gotta keep on it.
Too much water.
did you ever do stand-up?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. To make a long story short, the key is to people.
Make it long. We got a lot of time.
Okay. When people come to see you, it's great. And I went out and, much like Tom Kenny's going to do, he's got some music. I love to do music. I might ask Tom if I could sing a song.
You
or two.
should.
Yeah, what the heck?
What's he going to do? Say no? Look like a complete dick.
I'll do a walk-on. Do a Bob Hope. And then everyone except get off the stage. Thank you. Mr. Willard has wet himself. No, I was watering my plant. Come on. It was a bit. It was a routine. What's the point? But if you hit like a late show where the audience comes, they don't know you and they've been drinking, it's tough.
Yeah.
I had a 45-minute act I did in 20 minutes one night. But I knew, but I have a thin skin, and I'm not the kind of comic who'll stay on to get an audience. If they're not laughing, it's like having with a girlfriend, she doesn't want to cooperate. I'll go on to the next girl. I don't want to try to win over the audience.
No. I just hold on with all 4 limbs.
Oh, do you?
Like, I'm going to grind your will into a nub.
Oh boy, until the police are called.
Yeah, they have to pull me off. That's kind of how my
Then you got a whole Mel Gibson thing.
Yeah.
What was he thinking of with that girl? What was he thinking of?
Oh, it's just a prank. Remember how funny Mel Gibson was with his practical joking?
My favorite part of the Mel Gibson tapes is when he can't hear her and he goes, "What? What?" Oh, Mel.
But I don't think she was a gift either. I wouldn't. That guy might have.
Oh, they're both awful. That's
Man,
right there.
who knows? There's a sitcom for next year, Comic-Con. Yeah. Mel and what's her name? Who knows? What's my point? There was a comic I know, Bill Kirchenbauer, the funniest guy. He was kind of a bald-headed guy. He did an impression of a garbage.
He was on Just the 10 of Us.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, he was the dad.
He did an impression of a garbage truck. I mean, this guy was physically, and he said one night a guy was sitting in the front row and said, "When are you going to start to be funny?" And I said, geez, if they could say that to Bill Kirchenbauer, if anyone said that to me, I'd say, I don't know. Well, can you come back in a few months? I'm trying. They don't want to hear that from a comic. I'm trying. Is anything you like? Would you like it? As you go out, there's a list. Just give your comments. They don't want to hear that with a comment.
No.
How are you, Montreal? We're the best fucking town. When you start saying, any notes, any suggestions for my next act?
If anything for me didn't fly in Montreal, I would just say like, désolé, which means I'm sorry. Je suis un American stupide. Like, I'm a stupid American. And then applause break. He spoke French to tell us he's stupid. What a charmer. Bill Kirchenbauer also used to do an impression of a bowling ball because he was bald.
Yes.
And then he would
he would just get into a ball and roll across the
Yeah,
stage.
he was
Remember,
very-
he would do the thing where he had the toilet seat covers.
Yes, yes.
Push
put it
his
over.
head through the
Yes,
toilet.
yes.
Very entertaining. Look it up on YouTube.
Very funny.
It's probably on the YouTube.
It's on there.
Someone told me that Lucille's balls husband.
Whoa, what?
Lucille's balls.
That's a.
Lucy, I put the apostrophe S in the wrong place. Lucille balls.
That's a transvestite.
Husband.
That's a
transvestite,
drag queen.
yeah.
That's a.
Lucille's
Great
balls.
drag queen, Lucille Ball.
That's that computer.
balls.
Lucille. Anyway, her husband. What was his name? Gary?
Desi Arnaz?
No, her
after.
real husband. They said.
Gary
No,
Arnaz?
no. Am I thinking the wrong? No,
Ricky
who
Ricardo?
She married after Desi Arnaz.
Hey,
Jerry Morton.
Yeah.
Jerry Morton.
How dare you interrupt your show with facts we're searching for?
Let us find it.
Come on up here. We need some help on this panel. But they said, no, to me, he was just an old-time comic that I didn't know. He never seemed to talk. They said he did an impression of Boris Karloff bowling. And he said, watch this. Which is very, I said, my God, I would have paid to go see that. That's just one joke like that. Do your Gary Morton. I don't know what you mean. The bowling, the Boris Karloff. Oh, that was the first show. Oh, great.
Did you ever work with Lucille Ball?
No, never met her. I remember when I was starting out, she was at a TV studio, and I was running the other studio to meet Lucy, and I had no interest. But I wasn't. When I was younger, I didn't watch that much TV. But now, I remember meeting Bob Hope. I was in a elevator. I was in where was I?
San
Help me out
Diego.
here.
Where was he?
San Diego. Where was I? Toronto.
Dayton, Ohio.
Vancouver, one of those towns. And I was in the elevator, and I was doing a Steve Martin movie, Roxanne.
Oh, yes.
And I got in the elevator, and Bob Hope was standing there. It was just him and a young woman who I assumed was his daughter. And I turned around, I think it was. I really think it was. And I was there, and I suddenly said, what is wrong with you? I've got to say hello to Bob Hope. I mean, he's a legend. So I turned around and said, Mr. Hope, I'm Fred Willard. And I had to qualify. I said, I'm here working with Steve Martin. Yeah. And I said, I'm from Cleveland also. He was from Cleveland. So I shook his hand. So it's a moment I cherish now, having met him in the elevator, just the three of us. And so it's you meet someone like that.
So the moment was because sometimes we'll talk on this podcast about like meeting more, we talk to famous people. It's always fun to hear about when they meet more famous people and like
Well,
what the
Bob
experience is like.
Hope was so legendary. Then I got off the elevator, and there was a lobby, a completely empty lobby. And the young lady he was with went off somewhere, and there was Bob Hope standing looking in a shop window, just like 20 feet off of the main boulevard. And it's a weird moment. If I'd had a camera, I would have got the silhouette shot. Bob Hope. Where was I? Vancouver, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Vancouver. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Vancouver.
Do you know Eugene Levy?
Yes.
He tells a funny story. If you know Eugene Levy, he's very shy and very withdrawn. And he said he went up with Dave Thomas once to meet Bob Hope. And they went into his hotel room, and Eugene Levy mustered up all his, chutzpah. And he went up and says, Mr. Hope, I am Eugene Levy. I just want to say you are a comedy icon. I can't tell you what a thrill it is to meet someone like you who has done so much to influence comics like me, and it's just a pleasure to meet you. And Bob Hope went, huh? And if you know Eugene, he probably, oh, God, I got to start this all over again. Where was I? I said, I'm Eugene Levy.
How are ya? Circus Lupus, the Circus of Wolves. It's my favorite SCTV sketch. It was what was it? Someone's House of Used Fruit. Was this Eugene Levy sketch? And if you came about the used fruit, you would get tickets to Circus Lupus, the Circus of Wolves. They just cut to this shot of these two like what looked like photoshopped wolves in front of a beach ball. Like it was the dumbest. Let's just describe sketches we like for the rest of the show. It's like describing Far Side cartoons. And then there's the bear, and he's angry, but he's smoking a cigarette.
And a cow walks in.
And the cow.
I'll tell you, the most influential comic, I think, Rodney Dangerfield, because he's the only one I know who people, even if they're not comics, would stand in groups repeating Rodney Dangerfield jokes.
Yeah.
And you don't hear that often. Occasionally you'll think of someone's joke.
Yeah.
I tend to remember if someone has a story they tell. But Rodney, I saw him in Vegas a few times, 45, 50 minutes of just one-liners.
It's insane. You don't think you can listen to someone do one-liners that long, but he was amazing. I got to see him a couple times at the Laugh Factory.
Oh, yeah. I saw him when he was drunk. You should see him when he's drunk. I couldn't even describe what he said to two young twin girls in the audience. But even a podcast, I can't tell you, it's too rough. I told my dentist I had yellow teeth. What did he suggest? He said, wear a brown tie. But that's what I mean. You could just think of his jokes and go on and on.
Now, because I feel like stand-up has sort of, when you look at stand-up in the last 40 years, you know, there are definitely peaks and valleys where stand-up was good and cool, and then it kind of fell back out. And, you know, with sketch improv, do you see patterns like that, or is it because it's more of an actor?
Well, what's happened, improv has taken off. When I started out, I was with Second City. There was Second City. There was the Committee. And that was about it. There were a few sketch shows in New York. And now, every city you go to, there's 3 or 4 improv. Everything is improv now. Because I think it's easier just to get a bunch of guys. We could get up and do an improv show.
Right.
Get David Koechner out here and give us a topic. And we can go for 5 or 6 minutes. You don't have to memorize something. And some of them, it scares the heck out of me. Because if you go and see them, and they're bad, you're sweating. You're trying to root. And if they're good, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
You say, oh, wait a minute. I don't know. Should I do this? Wait a minute. They must have rehearsed this. So it's like a no-win situation. But if they're really good, it's amazing to see people.
And you really appreciate it because I mean it's not just. Because, like, there's some MTV show of just like, oh, we'll just get these cool guys who are funny to do improv games.
Wildin' Out?
Wildin' Out, yeah.
Fuck that show.
In the face.
That
yeah.
show, man.
Yes, and double fuck it. Just give me yes, and.
I'm missing all this. Was that a show? Wild Out?
Yeah, it was a show.
Yes.
Who is it? Lil Bow Wow? Who's
No, I think it was
was it
Nick Cannon, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like, yeah, it was just bad. It was really. What?
The Google engine is powering our audience tonight.
Oh, it's just Bow Wow now.
Wouldn't
Sorry,
that,
that's what they were
wouldn't that air back to back with like Yo Mama? Like that was the worst
Yeah.
2 shows ever. It was just Vilmer Valderrama hosting a show where people would insult each other's mothers.
Yep, that's right. Well, you've sort of broken that. Yeah, I think maybe you've oversimplified.
It was essentially.
I love how it's just like the whitest guy describing snaps. So you're just insulting each other's mothers?
It's a bat lift.
His mother is so fat she probably has diabetes. That's not funny.
It's probably hard for her just to walk around Comic-Con.
Comic-Con, a completely different con.
It's for communists.
Yeah.
For communists. Oh, das Vidanya.
We love this Thor.
So, I mean, I wrote down all your credits here because there's so many shows and movies that I want to talk. I would love to talk about Real People for a second, which was a show that I loved.
Did you really?
Yes, I loved Real People.
I don't know if you remember. That was when, in the 80s?
Late 70s, early 80s, like Skip Stevenson.
Skip,
and,
who's passed away, but who else? I forget. My mind's bleeding. But it was the first show of that type to do a reality show and cover people and a magazine type show. We showed clips, screen tests, and that was George Schlaughter who did Laugh In. And
Right.
It was really amazing. And I was on that and off. I quit, and then I came back, and I quit, and it was on every time. But it was a great show to be on.
It seemed like a fun. I mean, I always. Do you guys remember Real People? Or are you too young to remember Real People? Some of you remember Real?
You'll remember it now because we're talking about
Yeah, exactly.
it. Real People. Google it.
It must be. You must be. That must be somewhere. You must be available somewhere. Real People.
Oh, sure, I'm sure it is.
All over,
I don't
Chris,
know.
Look around. Real people.
No, Jonah, it's a show. No, you're. I
Just
think you're
every
confusing
day you run across. What?
It was very structured, very planned. It wasn't just...
DC Follies was another show.
That was fun. That should still be on. That was life-size puppets.
Yep.
And I was the only human being on there. I was the bartender. It was set in Washington, D.C.
I remember.
And we were in the Christmas parade once, and they had the puppet of Dolly Parton, Cher, and someone, and Whoopi Goldberg. And we were in a car, and every time we'd come to a
One
stop...
of these things does not belong.
But they were life-size, very realistic life-size puppets. And a reporter came up and stuck his microphone in front of their face and said, how are you enjoying the parade? And what he didn't realize, there was no one there to do their voice because of the Christmas parade. I said, Dolly's tired now. She's not talking. But it was a wonderful show, and it was very topical. And 3 people did all the voices.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did they give you any of the DC Follies? But there should have been a DC Follies thing at Comic-Con.
Yeah, but it's off the air. It's gone. But we could have
okay.
brought it back.
We could have brought it back.
It would have been great.
The internet can bring stuff back. It brought back Family Guy. Why can't we bring back
Yeah.
DC Follies? Get on it, nerds! Then, of course, you fell in with Or maybe you were already friends. How did you get hooked up in the whole Christopher Guest clan?
I'm not quite sure. Let's see. I was in Spinal Tap, kind of through Rob Reiner.
I've heard of it.
And then I did a movie with Eugene Levy called Sodbusters, which was a spoof on Shane.
Okay.
And then I.
Just a guy they knew named Shane.
He was angry too.
Yeah,
Oh, you're doing a whole movie about me? That sucks, man.
That sucks. It's going to be way too inside.
Yeah.
Way too inside.
And then he just called me out of the blue and said, we're doing this movie down in Austin, Texas, and he said it's going to be all improvised. And I said, oh, that's great. No dialogue, nothing to memorize. And I said, oh, geez, you got to come up with it all yourself. So I did that, and I did that, and Mighty Wind, and Best in Show, and For Your Consideration. Yeah,
Yeah.
They were great fun.
I mean, because I definitely feel like, because I remember, I think people have always known who you are, and then, but Best in Show, the Buck Laughlin character was like so mind blowing.
That seemed to be the most popular. Yeah,
I mean, that totally. How much? I mean, just what was the experience like?
Well, they brought us up there and they showed us the day before video that we would be seeing, what we would be seeing the next day. The next day, Jim Piddick and I were just sitting. They moved all the extras up behind us and just rolled the camera. And Chris Guest would say, okay, now here's where the sports dogs come out. This is where the big dog jumps on the fat lady. This one, and I was supposed to be doing Joe Garagiola. He did the color for the Westminster Dog Show. And he had kind of a delivery like that. You know, he's an ex-baseball player. And I remember once he was talking, he was narrating a ball game, and he said, the crowd is leaving like the concessionaires are selling fire. And I said, well, that's a strange, that's something you plan.
Selling fire?
Yeah, I don't know what
you don't have to buy the fire.
You don't have to buy it. You don't have to leave. So in the scene, there's a scene where the dog leaps up on the fat lady. And I said, he went after her like she was made out of ham. So it's somehow easier to be in a different character and put on someone's voice. And then any thought I had came out because I knew he would just cut it if it didn't work. And I got there the night before, and he said, come in, let's have something to eat with Eugene Levy. And I said, now, have there been a lot of Shih Tzu jokes? And he said, no. I said, there will be tomorrow. So that's,
I think the one that I literally screeched like a girl in the theater when you said something like, how much you think I can bench press? Ballpark. I had one of those laughs that was like, ah! Like, you know.
Well, my idea was that who would give a crap what this guy, but he thought that everyone would be interested. That was all, yeah.
I mean, you have to, obviously, when you're doing that, do you know Christopher Guest pretty well at this point?
Kind of, but he's still not, I don't, you know, we never go out to dinner. He's very standoffish and very cool. I think just now, if I see him, I can kind of get a little smile out of him. And he's married to Jamie Lee Curtis, who couldn't be more outgoing and warm. They're a great couple, but Chris, I just love him. I'd love to be in his inner circle. I'll tell you why. We were sitting in the office during one of the intervals, and two gardeners were putting up a tree, you know, planting a tree and going up like that. And he said to Eugene, he says, look, Jim Iwo Jima. And Eugene laughed. I said, I don't get it. He says, oh, we have a funny thing where everyone's lesser brother is named Jim. John Belushi has Jim. Don Amici had Jim Amici. And here these people were putting up a tree
like a flag.
Jim Iwo Jima. I said, God, I wish I'd love to be in this crowd and just hang out with them.
Is that where you start trying to do the joke with people like, Jim Blue Collar, and then they're like,
what?
Yeah, that's not
I
funny,
don't get
Fred.
it.
Why
Yeah.
would you try to? I always, you have to have a lot of. You must have a lot of faith in a guy when you're just improvising, and they can literally cut the movie in one of any 5 million ways.
Yeah. So you just, pitch in. That's what I did in Best in Show. I said, this is going to end up on the cutting room floor or just a voiceover. So I said, any thought that comes into my mind, I'm going to express.
Yeah.
And I did, and he left a lot of it in. And so I was very happy with that.
I mean, do you really feel like that's the best? You know, if you're improvising, is that really the best way to do it? I know UCB has the, don't think mantra.
Yeah, that's the best thing, and that comes naturally if you do it all the time. If I was at Second City for 1 year, And the first few nights, oh, what do I say? After a while, you just go out, you close down your mind and just say anything comes to your mind. That's the best thing to do. I found since then, people say, come on, get up and improvise with us. And I'll get up and something will be going on and I'll think of something and then they're past. They've gone down and it's too late. But, so that's the best thing to do. It's like anything if you do it over and over.
Yeah. Did you ever teach at Second City?
No, I didn't. But I remember years ago when I first started, I was in an off-Broadway show in New York that Alan Arkin directed. And they asked me, they said, Fred, would you come in on Saturdays? We have a college group that's interested in improvisation. And I said, well, they said, and whatever they paid at the time was just what my rent would be for the month. So I said, yeah, I'll do it. So every Saturday I went in, all these college kids, and this is another lesson, there were not that many improv games at the time. So I would get them up. I found the best thing to do is get two people up, give them a situation, and let them just do it. That's the best way to learn. It's like tossing someone overboard, and they'll learn how to swim. Mm-hmm. And I found that 3 out of 4...
Some of the time.
3 out of 4, like handling an inanimate object, or an object. Take a basketball. It's not there. It's sensory. Take it 2, 3. The third, the fourth guy would go like this. I said, no, you're holding a ball. They just wouldn't get it. And they wouldn't get anything, but you just let them go, and they're not going to go on and do improv or maybe theater, which is not a bad thing. They'll do something else. They'll play the banjo. They'll be an athlete. Or something.
That's the go-to. If you don't, that theater sucks, banjo time. Here we
banjo or the accordion. Take my advice. Which has become a very hip instrument, hasn't it?
The accordion?
Now.
Yeah.
It's now with the, what's that down in New Orleans? What kind of music is that?
Treme.
No. Well, no, that's... You Comic-Con guys.
I hear Zydeco from the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done. So who is that out there that keeps shouting out the right answers? Is that the same guy? No. Okay. All right. Well,
it's great to have a knowledgeable audience out there.
It's a smart audience.
Yeah, they know what we're talking about. They're ahead of us.
Smart bunch of nerds out there. Like, for instance, if I were to name the most famous Zydeco player, it would probably be what? Motherfuck! I had no idea. I thought it was just going to be like...
Tom got it.
What?
Tom got it.
Well, of course Tom got it. He's an encyclopedia of...
there was a guy I saw there down there. There's a place called the Rock and Bowl in New Orleans. It's great. It's a bowling alley in the back. They got rock shows. And you hear that Zydeco music. It's great. It's like heavy rock and roll and country and New Orleans Cajun. It's great music.
Yeah. Do you tour down there a lot? Do you tour?
No, I don't know what I was doing down there. New Orleans. I woke up, I was in a Greyhound bus station, completely naked. Who knows? You fall asleep on a bus.
You wake up in a bathtub of ice with one kidney. Who knows what's going to happen?
Then I found it on eBay. That's my kidney.
Well, I just put Fred Willard and kidney in there, just kind of crossing my fingers, and lo and behold.
I was down there for something. I think it was NAFTA. What's that? NatP.
Oh, NatP. Oh, when they were doing the national...
Yeah, I was down there. And
that was the television buyers thing.
You see how impressionable. All I can remember is going to the Rock and Bowl. I don't know what I was doing there. That's why I wasn't asked back. Mr. Willard, I don't think you're taking your job seriously. Well,
Shut up, Zydeco. What do you want? Buckwheat's here.
Yeah. Or as the girl I was with kept saying, woo! You must have something else to say. Woo! Okay, look, all right. Have another beer. I'm going to sit with this lady over here. You're a librarian? Good, let's talk.
I'll make your decimal system all dewy. All right, come on.
Oh, wait a minute.
Fred,
What kind of show is this turning out?
It's a filthy show.
I apologize to you guys.
Thank you.
They said, Fred, this is not going to be an X-rated show, is it? I said, no. I'll see to that. I've got the delete button. I became Nixon there.
Mr. Nixon, yes.
You delete 18 minutes at a time.
Nixon Frost.
I do 2 impressions, Ed Sullivan, and Nixon. And Ed Sullivan, Nixon always ends up as, I'm not a crook. And right here on our show, so it just goes in. Fred, Tom Kenny knows, I don't do voices. Fred, thank you very much. We're seeing a lot of people. If you need a Sullivan or a Nixon, okay.
I do a Sullen Nixon. You can just do a weird mashup. Between
Fred,
the
we're
two.
doing a Fred Willard, and we didn't like your audition. We're going to get someone else. You were great, but you'll be on hold.
We just need someone more Fred Willardly.
You know, can I tell you that actually weirdly happened to me today? I was in the G4 building. I work for a channel called G4.
I know it.
Oh, you do know G4?
I was down on their show.
Oh, you have been. Well, that's usually how people know G4.
Lightning fast show. You're in, you're out.
You're out.
So hip. And I thought I was killing, but the crew stands around laughing. And so you think, boy, I'm killing here. And the crew is laughing.
Believe me, they don't laugh if they don't like what you're saying. I can tell you from experience. A lot of times you think you're going to get a safety net because you're like, we all work together. No, it does not work. So if they laughed, you earned it. But I was
I
in there.
love guys who struggle with their water. You see guys that talk, it's just like this. You go, what the hell is going on? And then it's just the backward thing.
How does this work?
Yeah, so...
I bought this at a stand where they were selling fire, and
God, I mean, this is like a...
but I was in the, yeah, you're good. Oh, Fred, you're a little sweaty. Do you need a towel?
Do you ever admire anyone who runs in a marathon or the triathlons, the Ironman thing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, their kidneys
I do.
collapse.
I sit around and admire them. I do.
That's what I admire about
I just sit around and admire
You watch
them.
them stop by the side of the road and throw up, and then that's I'd rather be a baseball
I
player.
admire kidney failure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because your kidneys want to work, and then it's like, nope, nice try, kidneys.
Yeah.
I really admire
20 more miles.
So, I was going to tell. I probably shouldn't retell the story now, but in the E building today, they were auditioning for a new show for E, and it actually said in a breakdown they were looking for a Chris Hardwick type singled out era.
Chris, just grow the bangs back out. Just grow your bangs back out.
Let me just put my oversized gas station shirt and my fucking hair drapes. Yeah. So yeah, I was this close to like grabbing a script and going into the room and being like, so what are you looking for? And it was didn't happen.
We need you 20 years younger.
Take it down a notch, Jonah. 20 years. What the fuck?
I'm sorry.
What the?
How long ago was it? I can't.
Not 20. Jesus. You just aged me.
I rounded up a bunch.
You rounded up quite a bit. So, are you gonna go on tour again anytime soon? Do you like to tour around?
I think of it every time once in a while, but no, I don't think so. There's so many great comics out there. Well, going to Montreal and you yourself. I mean, comedy is people are very good now. It's very seldom. Even if you see a comic you don't like, they still got a few nuggets up there, and it's got something. What did I say? Did I say something wrong?
Well, because I think people always say. I hear people say a lot, in the old days, like 20 or 30 years ago, that's when the comics were really good. But I always feel like there are probably just as many people trying to do it. It's just the shitty ones you don't remember. And so that's why it seems like...
No, comedy, a lot of people are doing comedy, and it's very, I just salute everyone who can get up and do... Well, we saw the New Faces show. People do 5 to 7 minutes. And the great thing about that, you can see the light, at 5 or 6 minutes. And, good, they're almost off.
Yeah.
Then you really, when they're off, that's great, okay. That's supposed to, another show start at 9:30. Another comedy.
Another one, yeah. Did you see Bill Burr while you were up there?
I did not, but I've heard him on comedy radio. He's a very funny guy.
Bill's really amazing. And Louis C.K., have you seen Louis?
Yeah, I watch his TV show, Louis. Yeah, it's great.
I haven't seen it yet. I hear it's amazing.
Yeah, it's very funny.
God damn it, I said it again. All right. Wait, let me rephrase that.
What can't you say?
Well, I say amazing a lot. It's just a go-to word.
It's a titillating show.
It is. It's a very.
Well, it's a must-see for comics.
Louis C.K. is titillating. Louis C.K. is striking. He's prominent. I've got the thesaurus app here. He's pointed and notable.
That's what a comic wants to. Your show is pointed and notable. Thank you.
And notable.
I have not seen it, but I've heard of it.
So, what are you working on now? I know you have a book, which we'll talk about in a second. But what is? Are you on Modern Family? You're coming back?
I think so. I was nominated for an Emmy for this thing, as a guest appearance.
Yeah, nice. You've been nominated a couple times for Emmys.
I was nominated 3 years in a row for Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
I didn't win, but the thing is, if you win, it's a bad thing because everyone says, geez, he wasn't that good. But if you don't win, people say, you got robbed, man. This guy won all the time. You should. So it's kind of. But I love it. There's nice parties you can go to. They're great. And I'm still starstruck. I go to there's an Emmy party and I look around. God, there's this guy and there's that guy and and they know you, which is nice. Or they pretend to like you. Hey, I'm a big fan. Thank you. I'm a big fan of yours. Who was that? Who was that? Big
That was
fan.
Joe Latruglia.
Man, it was really
Psycho.
funny. It was really amazing watching Seth Rogen was like, oh my God, Harrison Ford just came up to me and said he knew who I was. I'm like, you're fucking Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who you are. It was probably the pot connection, too, with Harrison Ford. So what are the Emmys like? Like when you, because I.
Very exciting if you don't go in saying, I got to win this thing. You go in and it's very fun. It's a little long. It's like everything. You sit there, and the thing is, it's great. James Lipton. I got to know James Lipton, and off camera, he's a very personable guy. No, really. He's very nice. I sat at a table with him for a while, very personal guy. But the first time I met him, James, I'm a big fan of your show, which really means I watch it in wonderment. You know,
Right.
It's just,
Yeah.
But for those of you on the actor track, but and I said,
Fred, what is your favorite swear word?
yeah, and then they bleep it. You tell them to bleep it, and beep. I like it, but beep, beep, and then I also beep. But so I said to him,
It's fuck sauce titty tard. Like, I always want to go on and say, like, a really weird one. No one ever says, like, a really weird one. It's shit socks. It's shit socks.
my favorite word, go fuck yourself. I've heard that so many times. Everyone will come. No, but I said to him, James, how are you? Big fan, great. I said, isn't this great? I didn't win, but it's just great. It doesn't matter. And he's, oh, it mattered very much to me. I really wanted to win. And he didn't win, the poor guy. But I thought, it's so subjective. Who's the best actor? I mean, I see actors on soap operas who are good. They could be nominated. It's just someone, they put your name in, it goes up, and it's always flattering, and it's fun. There's parties, and you get a little notoriety. But afterwards, when I don't win, I'll put an ad in the trade, say, thanks, Academy, Fred Willard. People don't know. Oh, Fred, what did he win for? Best direction. Best, most improved.
Or they'll just think,
Most improved.
honorable mention.
Honorable mention. Best, you don't want to be known
Attendance. I got the attendance Emmy.
as most punctual. Fred's always on time. I've worked with him many times.
Fred Willard, E for effort.
You never wanted that as a kid. No, you wanted to get an A and what was a U for not good effort. That was gold.
A U?
You got a great grade, but no bad effort. You didn't want to get a D with an E for effort. You didn't want
Right, because that means you're trying hard and you failed.
Yeah.
Did you prepare? Do you ever prepare Emmy speeches?
No. Oh, no, you kind of think, what do you do? You think your agent, you think this one, you think, what are you going to do? I won a comedy award once, and I thought I had a funny thing. I got up and I said, as I was sitting out there, I thought, what a great movie of the week this would make. And then I said, wait a minute, Fred, you're an actor. Everything that happens to you think would make a great movie of the week. I thought it was kind of an interesting thing. Actors, we go, this is wonderful. Just being on this panel, what a movie of the week. This would be a two-parter. The first part would be driving to the Largo, then waiting in the green room.
That is so funny.
Yes.
That is so funny that you say that, because as a comic, every time, I'm not kidding, every time I walk into a room, I'm like, well, if you put the stage there and then you put a curtain behind people here, like I always envision like how you would set up a stand-up show.
Well, the first probably, Fred talks to David Koechner. And then it'll be about 10 minutes with David. Fred talks to Tom Kenny. Now he's getting the green light. It's time to go on. And we switch to the audience, and do that annoying pam, 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 pam. This kid.
Enter Google guy.
Yeah.
And then that guy comes in. Zydeco is playing. Do you sit down? Do you still write sketch stuff? Do you ever write?
Oh,
sketch
yes. My wife and I have a sketch workshop.
Your wife is wonderful, by the
thank
way.
you, that's nice.
Mary, she's here. She's
Yeah,
here
she
tonight.
is.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, sure she is. I think I left her. She's in the green room talking with my publicity guy, just going on and on. I'm going to be on. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
How long have you guys been together?
A long time.
Fair. It's a fair answer.
She's very supportive. It's great.
That's good.
What was it? Oh,
I was
we run
like,
a
what's your
sketch
process?
workshop, which is not people say, "Oh, you teach?" No, you don't. You can't teach. It's kind of like a social thing. People come in, and they bring in sketches, and you get up and do cold readings, and then. Once a month, we started doing a little show at Bang on Fairfax.
Oh, yeah, no, they across from the old Largo.
Yeah. And you do about a 50-minute sketch show, always under-rehearsed. You have lights and sound, and people, we're in there 20 minutes before the show going over the lines. But it's a lot of fun, and I love sketch. It's my favorite thing. Movies, if you don't like a movie, it can, 2 hours, 2.5 hours is too long. Sketch, you're in and out, 3-4 minutes, it's great.
Yeah.
You did there's a monthly show at UCB called The Midnight Show, and you actually
I did that once. What
that.
great fun that was.
Yeah, it was it's like a bunch of younger guys, UCB guys, like Michael Bush, Cale Hartman, James Pumphrey, and like they put together basically Saturday Night Live, right?
It was. They were all young, and seven of them live in one house. It'd make a great sitcom. And they sit around the table and they're writing sketches, and I so admire them. And they came up with all this material, and they did some YouTube stuff, and we did at a midnight at the Upright Citizens. It used to be the old Tamarind Theater on Franklin.
Yeah.
And it was great fun at midnight.
How do you write sketches? Like, do you just kind of come up with the ideas and work the beats out on stage, or is it? No.
I sit down usually on Monday afternoon. I say, I got to come up and write something, and then I get an idea and just sit and write it. And it's I got about 5 boxes full of sketches in my house. Probably 50% of them are unusable, and the other 50 I'll look through and say, boy, this is funny. I should do this again.
It's good. I think it's good. Like, for anyone out there who's a comedy writer and you write notes, it's always good to go through your old notebooks and stuff.
Definitely.
Because maybe sometimes some stuff that wasn't ready yet you can put into other things. Like, it's just a good idea to mine your old stuff, I think.
Every once in a while I have to host something, and I'll pull out a joke I did 10 years ago that didn't work too well, and I'll get a huge laugh. It's just in the context. Did you see the movie Joan Rivers?
I hear it's really great.
It's wonderful. She has a filing cabinet, hundreds, alphabetized, every joke she's ever done. I don't. I have little scraps of paper someplace,
Yeah.
This is in the wastebasket. Oh, yeah. But that's great. Very organized. Bob Hope had that too. Milton Berle. They just everything categorized.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was great.
Who else besides Bob Hope did you, when you were...
As a kid?
Yeah.
Danny Kaye, Abbott and Costello, Bob Hope and Crosby. I was a little kid, and I loved when they turned to the camera at the end of the movie and addressed the audience. It was just, as a kid, you're used to seeing the movies. And I said, God, it's so wonderful. And Bob Hope was so, brash.
Yeah.
Just jokes. And now you listen and say, that's what he said. I don't even understand what he said. It wasn't even funny. Just that timing. Lonnie Anderson. It's like watching Don Rickles. Couldn't be funnier. And you're laughing. He's like, wait, what did that mean? What he just said? Bring him a bowl of fruit. But I just met him at a Bob Newhart tribute. And Don Rickles knew who I was, just like, what's his name, Seth Rogen felt about. And he called me over and he did a few put-downs to his wife. Fred Willard, the least talented actor in showbiz, but I loved it. And then he grabbed me, I love you, you're just great, man. With Don Rickles, it's wonderful. And he got up and he did this stuff. Then later I saw him on Leno, and he did the same stuff, but it's so funny. And he's just so great.
He did his Fred Willard as the worst guy?
No. He's probably already forgot about me. Hey, I understand you met Fred Willard. Who? That hockey puck. Jay, get back. I'm here now. The band. Hey, you guys, is here?
Yeah, a friend of mine saw, this is probably like 10 years ago, went to Vegas and saw Rickles open for Sinatra. And one of those last big shows that they were doing and said he was still like...
Yeah, I've never laughed harder than, 3 people. Don Rickles, when he just get going. Rodney. And a guy, Jimmy Martinez, years ago, I used to see him at the Improv in New York. He'd make me laugh so hard. And he never broke through. But Rodney and, who did we just say? Rodney and Don Rickles. Just laugh hard. Doesn't mean they were my favorite comics, because you watch Jerry Seinfeld. I sat through a concert with him at Vegas. I don't think I laughed once, but it was amazing. No, I don't mean that, but it was amazing. I came out, my wife will say to me, you're not enjoying it. I said, I can't believe it's wonderful. But sometimes you watch more and say, oh God, what great jokes.
Yeah.
But others, you go to a burlesque show and laugh. The guy comes out with... it's...
That's really funny. So the next time if I'm having a set and I feel like people aren't responding, I'll go, they're probably just sitting there admiring my craftsmanship.
That's right. Some of them enjoyed me so much they dozed off. They just dreamt of what I could be.
I took them to an ethereal plane.
They wanted to check my material. They kept saying, check, please. But no, I don't mean I think Jerry Seinfeld's probably the funniest comic I've ever seen, the brightest, most wonderful comic. But there's different types of comedy. You laugh hard. You laugh at a cartoon, a Roadrunner cartoon.
Yeah.
But I'll sit and watch Mort Saul and just say, oh my God, or just so bright, so brilliant. Anyway, I don't want to talk more about comics because everyone will say, "Oh, Fred doesn't like Jerry Seinfeld." Which is not true. I love it.
No, I think we all took away from that.
I love it.
You love Jerry
You're just sitting there,
Seinfeld.
it's like watching a painter.
What's the deal with Fred Willard not laughing at my material?
Don't get me started on Lady Gaga.
I want to talk about your book because you have a book. By the way,
Yeah.
guys, you definitely Fred is going to be out in the lobby area signing copies of his book.
Do I have to sit and sign them? Okay, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought they were just going to sell them. That's great. But it's
But you were hoping to be out there selling them yourself, though.
yeah. I
right?
want to say, hey, you want to buy a book?
Can you sign
$10.
it?
What do you get? Do it for $10.
You're going to sign this? Ah, fuck no, I don't want to do
No
that.
time for that.
Yeah, well, go fuck yourself.
Fred Willard told me to fuck myself. I could die.
I meant that in a good way.
I meant that in a good way.
Sign is somewhere in the middle.
So your book is called Fred Willard's Magnificent Movie Trivia. Put your knowledge of movies, actors, facts, and first to the test.
Yeah, they came to me with this idea, and they did all the research, and they said, "Do you want to?" And I said, "Well, yeah, but I'm looking through it, and it's they give you multiple choices about movies, and then they have the little trivia things you didn't know about movies, which is fascinating. So I end up just reading the trivia columns. You know, what's the one that went to White Castle? Who was that?
Harold and Kumar.
Harold Kumar went to White Castle. Cal Penn is a vegetarian. They had to make veggie burgers for him. I just happened to read that. to eat. Yeah, to eat in there. It's amazing.
So that is an example of a fact that you might get in Fred
you
Willard's
get it,
Magnificent
yes.
Movie Trivia.
Barbara Streisand did Funny Girl. Her leading man was supposed to be Frank Sinatra. She did not want to work with him. So I don't know why. Maybe she was nervous or didn't like him or thought he'd get all the reviews. But they used, who was the Funny Girl? You know, Barbara Streisand?
Omar Sharif.
Omar Sharif. So he was the, yeah.
Yeah, a natural backup to Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra doesn't have daunting facial hair. Let's get Omar Sharif.
But it's a fun book. And you don't have to have, a game, it's like Trivial Pursuit. You don't need that.
It's great. There's games in here. There's trivia games and all sorts of. I feel like Doug Benson would love this.
Yeah.
Have you done Doug Benson's show? I Love Movies.
No.
That would be a fun show for you to do at some point. Now that you're on the podcast circuit. Yeah. So Fred will be signing Fred Willard's Magnificent Movie Trivia.
I'll be here all night, too. Really?
Do you want to?
I did not know, but I'd be glad to sign it if anyone, And it's what are they selling that for? What is it for? For your
I think like $300. Is it $300? Oh, it's $7.95.
$100 marked down to.
I was off. $7.95.
Pay what you can.
Yeah, book soup.
Hey, that's
Books. Pay what you can.
yeah.
The
You
internet
go to a
model.
place, pay what you can. I'll
Yeah.
give you $2. You
All right.
asshole! I just saw you $200 steak dinner.
I'm following you around, so that's
Yeah.
why I saw you eat that steak dinner.
$2. I saw you drop a 5 on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I didn't laugh at it.
I just like to make sure that people are telling the truth when they say that they can only pay a certain amount for an object, so I follow them around during the
Tough
day.
times, yeah. I've been
Yeah, it's a long
following you.
time.
The parking next door. At first he said, "Park anywhere." You with Largo? Park anywhere. I came down. He says, "It's $7." So I started to get out. I gave him 7. He said, "No, that's 10." I said, 10. Okay. Then someone else said, "Fred, you don't have to pay." So, "Oh, you're in the show. You don't have to pay." So I went from nothing to 7 to 10. I got in free.
Shit,
So
yeah.
drinks on me after the show.
That's how it works.
What's a drink here for about $1?
Yeah, about $1. Yeah.
Or
yeah.
8.
$2.50 for your top shelf Jaegers.
Then
But-
that's that 1% tip you got to figure out.
Yeah, that 1%.
$20, 1% of
Yeah.
$20.
Here's a dime. I want to bring out the next guest. 'Cause
Why not? Because I'm going to sing with Tom. Is
'Cause
Tom or do we have? Someone?
Yeah. Tom. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Kenny coming out of the stage. Come on out, Tom.
Right now?
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, Fred.
It's Tom Kenny.
Hey. Wow.
Such a fan.
I guess that was an intro.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, what happened was I was going to give you a bigger intro, and then I said your name, and then I was like, fuck, I already just said his name,
That's
so
all right.
I just
Yeah,
spoiled the
you don't
intro.
want to leave it in the locker room.
I didn't take up a lot of time. He just kept asking.
I
me
know.
questions.
I know.
And I don't want to
He told
sit
me
here.
this- He told me this whole thing would be over by 10.
Yeah, but I didn't want to say.
Come on, Willard. Bring Lassie home.
Yeah. Oh God, Fred's got another joke. Okay.
No, it's funny. I'm standing back there watching, and every story that you were telling was triggering like a stream of consciousness. A story of mine. Like I went to New York when I was barely out of high school to see Rodney Dangerfield in New York because I loved him. And at that time, there was this thing called punk rock that was very big at the time.
What?
And, yeah, have you heard of it?
No.
Yeah, it's kind of like, Greasers, and then there was punk rockers.
What?
And I had like a punk rock, I looked like a punk rock guy, because I was like 20, 21 years old. And I went there and I'm like, wow, Rodney Dangerfield, this is so great. I want to write comedy. This is going to be so great. And Rodney came in drunk.
Yeah.
And I was already excited because I had seen Joe Ancis sitting at the bar, right?
Very famous writer.
The guy
Worked
who
for Lenny
supposedly
Bruce.
was Rodney's muse through all the years. Like, he was like a hipster jazz guy that was like pals with Lenny Bruce and friends with Rodney and gave them jokes, but he wasn't a performer himself. And I recognized him. I was like, wow, I can't even talk to that guy. I'm too, this is amazing. And then Rodney comes in, loaded, and goes walking through, and I go, wow, I'm all by myself. I hitchhiked down from Syracuse, New York to New York City, and he stops drunkenly and sees me and goes, what the fuck are you? I said, hey, I'm here to see the show. He said, oh, you're one of these angry punks, huh? Yeah, one of these angry punks. Yeah, well, I'm fucking angry, too. I've been angry for a lot longer than you've been angry.
So all of a sudden you're in a fight with Rodney Dangerfield.
I know!
Starts.
It's like, I love you, and yet you want to fight me. So, yeah, so every story that you had, I got my SAG card because of Dave Thomas.
Oh,
He hired me to write ins and outs on America's Funniest People.
Oh, you mean Dave Thomas, the actor, not the founder of Wendy's?
Not the
That would be
Wendy's
weird.
guy. No, not the guy with the
square
with the Willie
burger.
Nelson looking trademark girl. No.
Right.
It was.
Might be his daughter. That might be his
Might
daughter.
be his daughter. For all the girls I've loved before. No, it was. Yeah. So Dave hired me to write ins and outs on America's Funniest People. Not even America's Funniest Home Videos, but and it was a great job. It got me in the WGA. My boss was Jack Burns from Burns and Schreiber.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know Jack?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What a great guy. And
for Dave Coulier and Tawny Katane.
yeah, and Tawny Katane, exactly. No, it was the other one.
We don't have a Jaguar.
No,
for
it wasn't.
On. What do we
it
do?
wasn't Tawny Katane. It was what? Holy shit, Arlene Sorkin. That's the person who knows Buckwheat Zydeco.
No, that was that person.
Wow. Do you know Buckwheat Zydeco's real name? Stanley Durall. Sorry.
Whoa. You just got learned.
Yeah. No, Yeah, so Dave hired me, and basically the job consisted of me hanging out. It was during the Gulf War. I remember because Jack is
Which one?
Yeah.
The first one?
The first one.
Okay.
When Daisy Cutter was a new word. And Jack,
a Marine.
Jack was a Marine, but also a total lefty, but also totally into current events. So he would and he didn't like any of the other writers except me. So he would go, hey, Tom, come into the room here, Tom. And I'd go in there, and he would just lock the door, and I'd go, we going to write jokes? He'd go, no, we're going to watch CNN. And we'd watch Gulf War footage. And people would go, Jack, I have those jokes for the slide him under the door. He would slide him under, but he loved me for some reason. Tom Kenny, you are a great American. You are a great American, Tom Kenny. It's okay.
Well, Tom, you've had a phenomenal, interesting career because
Interesting is in quotes.
No, it's great. Because, you did Mr. Show stuff and you did stand-up and then for the last 10 years you've been doing SpongeBob.
Yeah, even longer. I realized that you don't realize how much time is passing. And then a club that I used to do in San Francisco called me and asked me to do their 25th year reunion. And I'm like, I haven't done stand-up in 15 years. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. I go, no, I won't be fine because the product that you're asking me to do is one that I don't purvey anymore. It's like I don't know how to run a cash register at Price Chopper in Syracuse either because that's an old day job I used to have and I don't know how to do it anymore. And no, you'll be fine. I mean, you know that you're going to be going up against guys that do it every freaking night in clubs and they're really tight and they're really good. And then you go up there and be, hey, please welcome Shecky Dick around, and you go up there and you
love
you just
Shecky
suck
Dick around.
Yeah, so, You don't realize how much time is going on, but yeah, stand up is a weird way to make a living.
It is weird. It's weird. It's a weird compulsion to have to get up in front of a room of strangers and try to make them like you. That's a weird thing to do.
I always felt bad that I didn't quite have that compulsion enough. You know what I mean? Like I was friends with, like guys like Stephen Wright and Robin Williams and stuff like that. Like they would get like itchy palms if they didn't go up, and I was happy to dick around for months at a time without going up and doing stand-up. So it was, I kind of felt like I didn't love it enough.
Is it because Tom and I, because I did a show for Nickelodeon too called Barnyard.
Barnyard.
Yeah.
Also, Back to the Barnyard. I guess was the official name of the show you purport to have performed on.
Back in the Barnyard, where I play Otis the Talking Cow, and yes, 2 people, and. But what's fun is that Nickelodeon sent us, Tom and I, on these. They have Nickelodeon-themed cruises twice a year.
Yes.
And so they sent us on both of them last year. And Tom is a fucking rock star. And no one really knew who.
If you're under 9 years old.
Yeah. And
on the MILF cruise. MILF cruise.
MILFs and milk. MILFs and milk. So.
Got MILF?
No. Exactly. So no one knew who I was, or that I did the voice of Otis. And so the first day that I saw you, all these people we meet in the main lobby, and all these people start swarming around Tom. And I go, Tom, I can see you're busy. He's signing autographs, and I go, Tom, I can see you're busy. So we'll catch up later. And he goes, you're not going anywhere. Hey, it's Otis the Cow, everyone. And it was like,
yeah. I just wanted to distract those people, so I'd go,
Yep.
scram away. But you were down at Comic-Con. I was down at Comic-Con, which is like this bizarre alternate universe where people actually give a rat's ass about people like us.
Yeah. It's very deceiving. You go down there and you're like, I think I might be famous, and then you come back here, and then people are like, fuck you, who do you think you are?
Then it's back to Earth 1.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? We're just like journeyman dildo, shelf builder guy. But, it's so weird down there because, what's the weirdest costume that you guys saw?
Well,
like people dress up and stuff. Obviously, if you know anything about Comic-Con,
it's the ones where people just invent a character.
I saw a normal-sized guy dressed as Andre the Giant.
What? So he's just Andre.
He was Andre the average dude.
Yeah. Andre the person.
Andre.
Yeah.
Andre
exactly.
the human.
I don't quite have the prognathous jaw. It's a little smaller, but.
The one weird one that I saw was that I moderated the Mythbusters panel.
Oh, okay.
And the last guy to ask a question was dressed exactly like Jamie Hyneman with the fucking beret and the mustache. I mean, it just screamed fetish, and you were like, oh.
Well, like some of the characters, like for you to dress up and like make a homemade costume of a character that is seminal to you and meaningful to you, you go, wow, okay, that guy's really into Aquaman. That guy's really into, Chris Reeve era Superman or whatever. And then I saw 2 Where's Waldos.
Yeah, that's.
One of them was a black guy. There is nothing nerdier than the black guy dressed like Where's Waldo. Hey, baby, what's up? I'm Where's Waldo. I guess you found me. Yeah. So, the other one, there was a guy dressed full on head to toe Colonel Sanders.
Oh, seems
and
unreasonable.
And then continuing the fast food theme, there was a guy dressed like and I don't think he was an In-N-Out employee that was just on his break. He was dressed like an In-N-Out employee. Like just walking around Comic-Con. Like that's his fantasy. Whoa, if I could be anybody.
They got help.
Those are the real heroes.
Oh man, animal style, motherfucker. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, maybe that guy's really the superhero. Because if you were a superhero, that would be your fantasy.
Yeah.
If I could be normal and just work it in and out for one goddamn day.
And then cut to the superhero like flipping a burger and it goes through the ceiling like, God damn these powers! I just want to be a normal person with a family.
Kal-El, you're over flipping again.
You must never interfere with human cheeseburgers.
With great minimum wage comes great responsibility. Uncle Ben? I'm the other Uncle Ben, the rice guy. No, I mean...
Yeah. Thankfully, no one went dressed as him. That would have been very awkward.
There probably was one there. By the way, after the stabbing, like an hour and a half after that happened, I'm walking around the con, like walking around the convention center, and there's already a guy dressed as the person who got his eye stabbed by a pencil.
Genius.
I swear to God. It was 90 minutes after that happened.
I don't know who that guy is, but I wish you
know.
an email.
That guy, like, you know, he read it on his cell phone and went, I smell an opportunity. You know? I was
That's
just
right.
like, dude, too soon. Too soon.
Literally.
Tragedy plus time. You can barely do Titanic shit now, and you're already doing the guy that stabbed himself in the eye.
Well, now I want you to. I want to talk just for a quick second, and then because you brought the band with you.
I did. I did. Speaking of the cruise.
Speaking of the cruise, you and Andy Paley do most of the music for the SpongeBob show.
Some of the music for the SpongeBob show. Yeah, so they do these Nickelodeon-themed MILF cruises, and they asked us to the MILF boat.
Nickelodeon Cruise Lines. Do you like cruise lines but hate all the alcohol and sex?
Exactly. His father and I split up a couple of months ago, and I wanted to do something really special for him. He's asleep in his cabin now, so. So you're the voice of SpongeBob.
I wonder if you could help me with this Patrick-shaped vibrator I purchased.
So they said, do you want to come on the cruise and give a class about how to do voiceover? And I said, yeah, that'll be really freaking thrilling for 6-year-olds. If I give my Donald Trump, learning annex class about how to be a wacky voiceover guy.
You have to want it.
Crying. So I said, no, but if we can do the music stuff, if Andy Paley and I can do some of the songs that we did on the, that we've written for the show and performed for the show, that would be fun. Then you're in Wiggles territory, MFer, okay?
Well, but I have to say, because I watched 2 of those shows, and I am not in Wiggles territory, and they were so much fucking fun, and that's kind of why I wanted you to do a couple of the SpongeBob songs tonight.
Well, we haven't done it since then, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, do you? Because you were worried. You were like, I don't know, these people are young hipsters. Are they gonna be okay with SpongeBob songs?
We have never done these songs for people where the average age in the crowd is over 10.
In Vietnam, the average age was 19.
And they've been watching your show for 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I first of all, before you bring the band out, I couldn't get the full SpongeBob costume, which you had at the show.
Oh, that's right. We had the walk-around guy at the show.
But
and, that's part of it.
I'm wondering, can I get a medium-sized volunteer out of the audience, please? Just someone who. Just a couple. Okay, that guy right there. I saw. Come up on stage,
right.
sir.
Yeah, I can't do the show unless there's a walk around SpongeBob.
Yeah. What is your name?
Doesn't matter if it's kind of like the copyright infringement guy that hangs out around the Chinese theater.
What's your name, sir? What? Hunter. Hey, get up on stage,
Hey, Hunter.
Hunter 1?
Do you want Hunter?
I am Hunter 1.
Oh yeah, you were the other guy. Oh, the other Hunter. That's right. Okay, so
Hey,
hang
Hunter.
on.
So should I bring the band out?
Yeah, you bring the band out.
Okay, come on, band. Hello.
Watch out for Fred's plant.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, Fred.
All right, Hunter.
You can leave if you want, Fred.
No, stay here. We're gonna stay.
You bet.
This is basically just a pillowcase with a head hole in it.
Wow. That is actually worse than the guy at the Chinese theater.
It's like you disappear into the character.
To be honest, Chris, it would have been funnier if we got some of that medium size.
Fantasy.
I tried to put it on Myra before, and it wouldn't.
Wow. Oh, there's booties. Because that helps the illusion. I wasn't buying it.
Like
And then
elf
when-
shoes.
Then when these bad boys came out, it was like, hello, it all fell into place.
This is you.
Oh, God. I know it's been 12 years of SpongeBob, by the way. So yeah, some of you kids were like Fred was saying. I'm now. It's been around long enough where people will actually come up and go, dude, I grew up on your show.
All right, so Hunter, when the SpongeBob songs start, you just fucking dance, all right?
Okay.
I don't care if you're tired and your feet hurt and you're crying inside. You fucking smile and dance because you are SpongeBob today, okay? Yeah, stretch it out. Stretch out those quads.
Because those theme park employees are really into it, right?
They really are.
If you've ever talked to those people, they barf inside the head. They just keep on dancing. You hear me, Ted? All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Nerdist Podcast, SpongeBob and the High Seas.
Yeah, we are the High Seas. Andy Paley and the High Seas. I don't know if you guys know the SpongeBob show at all. You seem to be over 11 years old. So, aye, Captain is the correct response to these questions, right? Okay, we're going to start with the theme song just because it's, it's the alma mater. Let's see. Are you ready, kids? I can't hear you. Oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Absorbent and yellow and porous is he. If nautical nonsense be something you wish, you're up on the deck and flop like a fish. Nice kid, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants. Wait for it. Let's do okay, we gonna do Where's Gary? You're the band leader, Andy. Oh, yes, I do SpongeBob on the show. I do SpongeBob. That's how I got this big honking scar right there on my neck. 12 years of going, and then they give you money. It's the best scam in the world. I do Gary. I do Gary the snail, and that SpongeBob has a pet snail that meows like a cat for some reason. And this is we did an episode where Gary the snail ran away, and he was found by a creepy old lady voiced by Amy Poehler. And they asked Andy and I to write a song called Where's Gary? And this is a song we wrote called Where's Gary? Can white people do this? Precious snail, where can you be? Maybe you're behind that tree. I've looked high and I've looked low. Let me know, where did you go? Come on, Ted, work it. Work it, motherfucker. I miss his face, I miss his smell. His collar with its little bell. Now my life's just an empty shell. Oh, where has Gary gone? Your leash is hanging on the hook. Your empty bowl, I just can't look. The peasant stairs you used to roam have led you from our happy home. Now I take my walks alone. Nice, guys. So if you see that little guy
twice for no. Remember the code, Gary.
Where's Gary?
Gary? Gary, you out there?
Where's Gary?
Gary the snail, please don't do this to me.
Where's Gary?
Gary! Gary!
Where's
Gary! You're freaking me out! Where's Gary? Where's Gary? Where's Gary? Where's Gary? I love you, Gary! I miss you, Gary! I love you, Gary! Please, Gary! Ow! 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 I miss you, Gary! I love you, Gary! I love you, Gary! Please, Gary! Gary! Woo! Gary! 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 Oh, Gary! Oh, Gary! Oh, Gary! Oh, Gary! Little bit softer now. 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 Bow. Where's Gary? A little bit softer now. Little bit softer now. Where's Gary? A little bit softer now. Where's Gary? A little bit louder now. 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 Gary. Where has Gary gone? All right. Andy Paley in the high seas.
Oh, man. Tom, there was a second, because for people in the podcast listening can't see, I'm facing the audience, and then having Hunter dance around in the SpongeBob costume while you do that, I felt like some douchey kid at a bar mitzvah whose dad was like, I'll fucking get you SpongeBob. Because I'm in the middle of it.
Oh, speaking of douchey kids at bar mitzvahs, what a segue. So at Comic-Con, I go to meet some of the SpongeBob animators at the Hard Rock where they're staying for dinner. And this giant African-American man comes up to me. I'm just waiting in the lobby for these guys, and he goes,
Excuse me. Are you the man that does the voice of SpongeBob?
and I said, yeah, that's my day job. That's my dirty little secret. And he goes,
Okay, cool. Mr. LL Cool J would like to take a picture with you.
did you hear this?
Yes, I heard it.
So I go, okay. And here comes, I thought he was dicking around with me, and here comes LL Cool J. And LL Cool J, we pose, and then LL Cool J goes, could you do the voice?
And I go, sure, wow, LL Cool J, I'm soft, spongy.
Ah, and him and all his guys go, like, what just happened?
You got
right.
one more? You want to do
Yeah,
one?
we're gonna do a ballad now. They asked us to write a ballad for SpongeBob, and it's like, what would SpongeBob feel tender about? And it would be about his underwear. It's obvious. Like SpongeBob is so tender to his under things. Alphabetizes them and arranges them by color in his drawer. So he said, let's write a tender ballad that SpongeBob would sing to his tidy whities. And again, does anybody have any underwear that I could borrow just to have a visual? Thanks, dude. Yeah, you've lost weight. You look fantastic. Wow. I think Dave Koechner left these backstage. This is called My Tidy Whities.
2, 3, 4.
My tidy whities.
Tidy
Tidy whitey.
Who makes my whole life worthwhile? So I start every day with a smile. You fit like a glove. where. Only I know you're in there. So razzly dazzly white. We must have been meant to be. For I changed you and you changed me. When you're old and gray, I won't throw you away. I'll spend laundry day with my tidy whities. Tidy whities. Tidy whities. My tidy whities. My tidy whities. I love you.
That's for you, baby. You can keep that. Yeah. That's for you.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, these people have homes and families. Let's get out of here. For some reason, this is the song, the most popular SpongeBob song, I think. It's been used, in commercials, everywhere. It's called Best Day Ever. It's us trying to channel John Sebastian via SpongeBob. Trying to be Lovin' Spoonful.
Mr. Sun came up and he smiled at me. Said it's gonna be a good one, just wait and see. Jumped out of bed and I ran outside, feeling so extra ecstatic. It's the best day ever. It's the best day ever. I'm so busy, got nothing to do. Spent the last 2 hours tying Chris Hardwick's shoe. Every flower, every grain of sand is reaching out to shake my hand. It's the best day ever. It's the best day ever. Sometimes the little things start closing in on me. When I'm feeling down, I wanna lose that frown. I stick my head out the window and I look around. Clouds don't scare me, they can't disguise this magic that's happening right before my eyes. Soon Mr. Moon will be shining bright, so the best day ever can last all night. Yeah, the best day ever's gonna last all night now. Yeah! It's the best day ever. It's the best day ever.
Suddenly, everybody began to sway. They were in perfect unison.
It's the best day ever. It's the best day ever. It's the best day
And that's how it goes. How about this guy, Chris Hardwick?
Can you
but really fun. Thanks so much.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.